Hello, I'm Charles Arnn. Someone in your church thinks very highly of you and of your potential influence with others in your church and community. The church leader who gave you this CD has reason to think you might find the ideas in this short presentation to be rather interesting. What we'll be sharing in the next 10 minutes is a new approach to ministry, an approach that might have some implications for your church. But rather than describe it, I'd like to show you 4 examples of churches that have grabbed hold of this new approach. The idea is not just using the word ministry to put church people to work. Rather, this is an approach to giving people the freedom and, in fact, the encouragement to follow their heart in exciting new directions of ministry. The Canon United Methodist Church near Atlanta, Georgia, has an outstanding ministry to families affected by cancer. The ministry began several years ago when a woman in the church had a friend who contracted breast cancer. Today, the ministry includes groups of people responsible for yard work, house cleaning, and cooking for cancer patients. One group stands by ready to pray in an emergency. Others transport patients to doctor appointments and pick up medicine. Some church members help patients and their families seek financial aid to deal with the medical costs. Today, over 1,000 cancer patients and their families have been touched by this ministry that began just 5 years ago in the heart of one member. Grove City Church of the Nazarene in Columbus, Ohio, has a unique ministry that connects members and non-members who share a common interest in motorcycles. It happened that several of the members who had been riding their motorcycles to church on Sundays a few years ago got together and suggested, let's go for a ride together after church. That was the beginning of what has since become a significant outreach ministry. Today, the church's motorcycle ministry includes monthly rides, workshops, and a regular newsletter. In the early years, the ministry sponsored a Biker Sunday, where one Sunday each summer, anyone with a motorcycle was encouraged to ride it to church. Well, what was once a Biker Sunday has grown into a Biker Weekend, and the variety of activities that comprise this annual event are so well attended, it is now the largest gathering of motorcyclists in the state of Ohio, many of whom are not yet believers or active church members. But it all began with a few members who turned their interest outward into a ministry. Wheaton Bible Church in suburban Chicago has a ministry for people who are unemployed or want to change careers. It began as a result of 3 men in the church who were laid off from work. The church helped these 3 unemployed members turn their negative experience into a positive result as they started a ministry that now includes career counseling, job fairs, a job placement service, and a skills training lab. Of course, the ministry touches the lives of many people who are not yet Christians or attending a church. But the relationships that have developed between members and non-members has become a bridge over which many people have come to faith and involvement in that church. The Kelloggsville Christian Reformed Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan, has a unique sportspersons club that provides outdoor sporting activities for men, women, and children of all ages. If you like to fish or hunt or take outdoor pictures or just go along for the ride, you'll find a place at the Sportspersons Club. Guess how it began? Through several people in the church who were encouraged to turn their passion for outdoor activities into a ministry. Aren't these ministry stories kind of exciting? They are for me, because they are about ordinary lay men and women who were given the freedom and encouragement to pursue their interests and begin a creative new ministry through their church. Do you know what? The same thing can happen in your church, and it's really quite a lot of fun. I mentioned earlier that a leader in your church asked you to view this presentation. The reason is because they felt that you might have an interest in starting something similar in your church. Oh, it may not be a cancer ministry or a motorcycle ministry, but God has given you and others in your church unique interests, experiences, and concerns that could very well be the spark to a creative new outreach ministry. As we conclude this presentation, I would like to ask you to do several things with the idea of a new ministry in your church. First, reflect. What are the significant experiences in your life that have made you who you are? Ask yourself, are there things in my life that are really important to me? Things that I feel passionately about? Perhaps there are certain challenges that have deeply affected you. Or maybe you're passionate about a hobby or a pastime. Reflect on who you are and what you really care about. Second, pray. Spend some serious time in the next several weeks asking God if He might be preparing you for something rather significant. A pastor once told me, God doesn't waste our experience. Ask God to help you see the unique person that He has created in you, and whether there is a creative ministry which you may be uniquely qualified to spark. Third, dream. Let your mind wander. Cast off limitations of time and money, and ask yourself the question, what might be an exceptional ministry in this area 5 years from today? What activities could be going on? Who would be touched? How might God's love and healing and community be experienced by the people who would come in contact with this ministry? Number 4, talk. First, talk with some of your friends or family about the idea of a new ministry. What ideas do they have? Do you find enthusiasm growing as you discuss these ideas? Sometimes God speaks to us through those around us. Then, if you're still energized by the idea of a creative new ministry in your church, make an appointment with your pastor or staff person to discuss the idea. We have provided a resource for you in this CD to help you prepare for the meeting. If you're watching this program on a computer, simply click on the link that says Talking Points in the lower left corner of the screen. This will download a document that will help you organize your thoughts prior to meeting with your pastor or staff person. Finally, begin. If you decide to pursue the idea of a new ministry, your church has helpful materials that will guide you through the process. For example, you will learn how to identify people in your church and community who may want to help in the new ministry. You'll receive a checklist with steps to starting a successful new ministry, along with guidelines for how and where to begin. You'll learn how to find churches around the country that have ministries similar to the one you're considering so that you can learn from them. You'll have plenty of help in doing it right. Well, there you have it. Ministries that grow out of passions. I call them heartbeat ministries, because that's how ministry should be, fulfilling as well as fun. Ministry that's close to the heart. You know, there's a big difference between a job in the church and a ministry in the church. One drains energy, the other generates energy. I know those people in Georgia who are helping families affected by cancer are thriving in their ministry. The motorcyclists in Ohio are having a great time in their ministry. Those church members in Illinois helping unemployed people find a new job are certainly fulfilled in their ministry. And the outdoor enthusiasts in Michigan, they're having a ball in their ministry. Why? Because these people are doing what they love to do. Their ministries are simply an extension of their heartbeat. As you reflect on the ideas and possibilities that God may be calling you to begin a creative new ministry in your church, you may feel a little like Moses when God called him on a mission. In Exodus 3:11, we can read, Moses asked God, "But why me? What makes you think I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead the children of Israel out of Egypt?" Well, we do well to remember God's response to Moses because I believe they are also his words to us. He said, "Don't worry, I will be with you." Remember to download the talking points material from this CD as your next step. And may God bless you as you consider whether you are being called to begin a heartbeat ministry through your church.